We are 9 days away until you step inside the ring and look to make history when you square off against Terence "Bud" Crawford. What does this mean to you?
It means a lot. This is what I worked for my whole career. To be the first ever undisputed welterweight champion of the world, and facing a great opponent like Terence Crawford.
How much are you looking forward to this moment? Because 2 years ago, you were slated to fight the great Manny Pacquiao. One thing you've always said to me is that you've always wanted your big Las Vegas moment where you're headlining. Now, fast forward less than 2 years from that, and you're going to be taking on Terence "Bud" Crawford with a lot more on the line, and history could be made for you.
I feel like this is what this is about. I'm fighting the best is something that I've been wanting for a long time. You see guys like Brandon, Tommy Hearn, Packers, Duran, all those guys, in the 14s where they all fought each other, and they made historic fights because the best fought the best. And that's something I want to do regardless, even if it wasn't no belts on the line. I feel like Terence is one of the best fighters in the world. I'm one of the best fighters in the world, and we had to make this happen.
With the level of opposition that you have in front of you on Saturday, July 29th against Terence Crawford, does that make you get that much more focused? Does it amp up the training, or is it just business as usual?
It's definitely business as usual, but it's amped up the training just because the opponent I'm facing, and I know his accolades, and I know he can really fight, and I feel like we're going to put on a great show and a great performance.
Before I turn it over to the media for questions, as you're getting ready for this mega matchup, the world is talking about it. I know that Terence Crawford's kids were asking him when he's going to fight you. I'm sure your family is all excited about this, but are you feeling the buzz from the worldwide media? Because I feel like everybody's talking about this matchup 9 days from now.
I'm definitely feeling the buzz. I've been feeling the buzz. I go to the store, go anywhere, and everything someone asks me, giving me a Terence Crawford on the fight. So I knew it was a fight that I had to make happen. But both of us had to make happen because this was the public definitely wanted. This was what everybody wanted. This is what I wanted. This is what he wanted. And basically prove who is the man at the welterweight division. Not only the man at the welterweight division, but who is the man in the boxing.
Is this for best pound for pound, you think? You think the winner of this fight will be known as the best pound for pound fighter on the planet?
Definitely. The winner of this fight will be the best fighter in boxing.
All right, now I'm going to turn it over to the media for questions. Errol, I'm going to hold the mic for you and allow the media to ask you questions. As Mitch from Showtime will go ahead and make sure to go ahead and give us your media and ask the question.
Andreas Hill with Sport News. Errol, you mentioned that this fight could be a dog fight. Would you be disappointed if it was one-way traffic, one way or another, or do you want to make history of having one of the best fights in welterweight history?
Well, I mean, I definitely won't be disappointed if it's just a one-way traffic with me watching them. But if it is a great fight, then I wouldn't be disappointed at that either because it's something that people talk about for decades.
A follow-up to that is, if this fight happened 3 years ago, you think the result would be different? Because are you better than you were 3 years ago, or what do you think?
I couldn't tell you how the fight would play out if it happened 3 years ago. It would probably play out the same day it play out Saturday night.
Hi Errol, Cynthia from Best Women's Boxing Show period. I asked Bomac yesterday, out of all the fights when they do tape study, which one of your fights would be the one that shows you're an all-around fighter, and that's the Crawford. That's the fight that they're going to see in the ring with Crawford. He said you are a media-driven fighter. He blamed all of us, PBC and everyone else. Do you have a response to that?
Nah, I don't have a response to it. I mean, I do use negativity as motivation, but it is what it is. Nah, I don't have a response to it.
You and Crawford in fight of the decade, maybe even the generation. But recently, Sports Illustrated put Jake Paul on the cover of their magazine instead of you guys. What do you think about that?
I mean, that's their priority. That's what they want to do. Yeah, I can't knock it, man. I can remember last time I bought a Sports Illustrated magazine.
Errol Sam Gordon here, Las Vegas Review Journal. Your quest for Undisputed, you've beaten 3 title holders. You beat Terence, that'd be the 4th. Nobody else who's captured Undisputed has gone through 4 belt holders to do it. What do you think has just been the unique part of the challenges that have come with your journey, and how fulfilling is it to go about it that particular way, in a way that nobody else has?
Basically, like you stated, just to come up with me being one champion, me being the next champion. Like every belt that I took for somebody. You know, so that's basically it right there. That I'm beating champion after champion after champion after champion. I'm not just fighting one person. I'm beating him. I'm going to the ringer, fighting the best guys in my division who hold the belt and beating them. I feel like it's a big difference when you face a champion than you face him when he's not a champion, because he got more to fight for when he has the belt.
Questions, guys? Anybody else? Questions?
At least back here. So, quick question. What does it mean everyone thinks they can swim until they get in the water?
It's basically, you basically said it. Everybody think they can swim until they get in the water. So when you start getting tired, you know how hard swimming is. Start getting tired, you start sinking, and you might drown.
Stacy right here, you see him, he's trying to keep his head above water and his other sharks. So that's basically what it means. Everybody think they swim until they get in the water and they trying to paddle to survive.
Next questions? Right here. Sean?
Errol, we got a chance to look at Terence yesterday, and you do look like definitely the physically bigger welterweight. How much does that factor into this fight?
I wouldn't know how much it factor into it until we get in the ring. They say he's a strong guy, so we definitely see next week.
Hey Errol, when it comes to preparing for this fight and Terence's style and the problems that he presents, what fighters would you say, in your experience, will actually kind of help you with preparing for Terence Crawford?
I don't think it's anybody that helped prepare me for Terence Crawford, just because his style is different from everybody else. It's just like saying, when Ray Leonard fought Tommy Hearns, what style would help him for Tommy. I don't think he fought anybody like Tommy until he fought Tommy, and it's vice versa. So same thing with Ali and Joe Frazier. So I feel like this is the first time that I'm fighting somebody with this type of style that Terence Crawford has.
Errol, this is the first time since your fight with Kell Brook that you're kind of back and forth as an underdog, especially as the headliner. How does it feel like to be seen as an underdog by a lot of people in the fight that you're headlining?
I really don't care. He's headlining too. So, but I really don't care. It is what it is. People have opinions. So it's time just to prove them wrong.
Errol, how do you deal with it when Crawford switches? Like, what are the keys for you to be able, when he switches stances, what are the things you need to accomplish?
It's basically the same. I just got to pay attention to when he switches. It's basically the same thing as if he switched to southpaw. Same thing as me fighting the southpaw. It's just the orthodox, the same thing as me fighting the orthodox fighter. Just the way you recognize when he switches.
Hey, Errol, what's been the biggest motivation for you in this whole entire process leading up to this fight?
The biggest motivation for me is just to win. I feel like that's the most valuable motivation. If you don't have that motivation to win, be successful, be the undisputed, and take care of my family.
Is the family part like the deepest motivation? Like, I know to win is something, it's sport, but is there anything deeper? Is it like the family part? Like, hey, this fight makes it so that my kids and my grandkids are okay?
I feel like that's the only thing that's more important. Winning is cool. Of course, we want to win. We don't want anybody better than us, especially another man. But to be able to take care of your family, especially for the rest of your life, and make sure they're good when they get older, that's a different type of flex. And a lot of people need to focus on that. And that's just my opinion about this fight and future fights in that aspect, because when I got into my crash, it made me focus on different things and putting things in perspective. And the main thing that I wanted to put in perspective was to take care of my family.
Would you say that makes you more dangerous of a fighter?
Alan over here.
It definitely makes it more dangerous because it gives you motive. So it definitely makes you more daddy to fight.
Hey Errol, Alan Dawson. We were speaking to Terence Crawford yesterday, and he was saying that he thinks he can beat you in any sport, not just boxing. Now that it gets to this part in the promotion, are there things in him that you admire, like just how competitive he is and how competitive he wants to make this fight?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what makes a great champion. I mean, you wouldn't ask Kobe or A. Howard, anybody else, or LeBron. You know, you ask him, you say you beat him in this, they gonna say yeah. So that's just his competitive nature. You know, he just want to be the best, and you know, he think he beat somebody in anything. That's the same with me.